Due to the current political and global climate, I have decided to come home to South Wales to look at one of the most pressing matters of our time. Growing up in a national park, I'm keen to see what people think, but an encounter with a stranger that I didn't film had left me in a bad mood. Coming to an area like this, you'd expect climate change to be one of everyone's biggest priorities, but people around here just don't seem to care. They don't seem to see it as a real threat, and it just sort of... it's worrying to me personally because of my views, but I think it says something about us as a species, about the way that humans are, and that we just don't care about our planet, and we just leave things in the dust behind us, and that's quite worrying to me. I don't like that prospect. I've come back home. I should be feeling nostalgic, happy, but as always, it's politics and crises bringing me down. Walking up my drive, I realised that I didn't really feel at home. The turmoils facing us as a species are too big for me to simply brush aside, and my lingering fears just eroded my sense of childhood wonder in forgotten corners of the garden.
Good boy. So here we are. Home sweet home. Go.
My mum was still surprised to see me though.
Hey Mum.
Right now we're looking at the temperature going up around 3+ degrees Celsius. Fahrenheit is 5 degrees, so picture your body temperature going from 99 to 104 degrees. That's how sensitive the Earth...
Come back home. It's clear to me. Localism is the only good solution for this area. It is the best solution by far, because there's just a lot of fields that are going unused. There's a lot of space down here. People don't realise that there is a lot of space, and that could be wind turbines, that could be biomass, maybe something to do with biomass. Like, there is so much space here that is just not being used because, simply put, the government can't really focus on one of the least populous areas of its jurisdiction. It's focusing on England, it's focusing on Scotland, it's focusing on London, it's focusing on Manchester, it's focusing on Birmingham. It can't be focusing on bloody Crickhowell, Brecon Beacons. So I think definitely, especially for this region and for the country as a whole, localism just means that rather than talking about Brexit, we can talk about what's going on around here.
The so-called Gen Z. With role models like Greta Thunberg currently garnering huge support, I decided to go to the local high school and talk to some students.
I hate politics. Oh no! I hate him. I hate almost as much as I hate Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn is not very good.
He's such a bad leader. I hate him.
leader.
I hate him more than Joe.
How do you feel about climate change?
I don't care. I want my plastic straws back.
And
to be honest.
why do you want your plastic straws?
Because the paper ones are shit. They get whatever it's called. They get they break apart, and then it's really uncomfortable to use them. And the plastic straws are just better.
But what about plastic building up in the oceans, Evan?
Kill the turtles. Give me my straws.
What do you think is the best solution for climate change?
I think we should just get rid of everyone, and that would really solve pretty much all of the issues we have.
Okay.
Soggy, that was the word. Make him soggy. Can't think of the word. I don't particularly care. Jibs, do you care?
About what?
The climate?
Not very inspiring.
It seems today that climate change is not as much as an issue as I would have once thought. You know, seeing in the news there's a lot of talk about young climate activists, but it just doesn't seem to be any interest or care. They don't seem to respect our earth, you know.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Do you have a minute to talk about climate change?
Of course, yes.
So, Charlotte, what do you think about climate change?
I think it's disgraceful, personally. I mean, the atmosphere is warming up, the Arctic's melting. What are we going to do about the penguins?
I see.
After having my spirits lifted by that last encounter, I ran into the music teacher, who showed me that it wasn't just young people who were worried about climate change.
Are you a teacher here?
Yes.
Oh, hi, I'm from the Cardigan. I'm doing a documentary on climate change.
Nice to meet you then.
Do you think the government should be doing more to tackle climate change?
Well, I don't really know what they're doing at the moment. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're doing very much at all.
Well, I thought you had some stats on that, Gabriel.
Yes, on a government document that released a couple of years ago, at least a third of energy currently produced by power stations in the UK is in fact renewable.
That's actually quite impressive. What are they? So, what next though? What can they do next?
Well, good to have your thoughts. Thank you.
That's all right.
Walking up to the bus, I met some more students.
Hey, sorry guys.
Oh,
Do you have a minute to talk about climate change?
yes,
Sure,
we do.
why not?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm from the Cardigan.
Oh,
Nice to meet
nice
you.
to meet you.
Yeah. So you're happy with being filmed and all?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, you know, starting off with the recent Cybertruck reveal. Have you heard about that?
Yes. Yeah, we have.
What are your opinions on electric vehicles?
Better than gas cars, aren't they?
This is very good for the environment.
Mm.
You know?
What do you think about Elon Musk?
He's a pretty cool guy.
Very
Like his
intelligent
SpaceX
man.
stuff.
Mm.
So, both of you, how do you feel about climate change?
I think it's disgraceful. I think we need to make moves to stop this, and yeah, we need to do it now.
Polar
bears drown.
Something needs
Pardon?
to be done.
Polar bears drown.
Ice
What?
caps are melting.
That's true.
Yeah.
What do you think about people who don't believe in climate change?
They're stupid.
So there we are. Spirits lifted. I was in the mood for a monologue.
Yeah, so coming off that day, pretty pleased. Well, just in a good mood by what people have said to me mostly. The way people feel about climate change, my mind's completely switched now. Originally I was convinced that no one cares, but it's become clear that people do care. People want this to stop, and while some people are a little bit sort of, you know, other people really see the value in having a healthy climate, and that's pleasing to me. So pleasing.
In the pursuit of knowledge, I decided to talk to an expert on the matter. Dr. Gregory Barnstable Forthwich was sufficient.
So, Dr. Forthwich,
Sorry, Barnstable Forthwich. Is it double-barreled, you see?
I apologise. So, Dr. Barnstable Forthwich, what steps have been taken to combat climate change in Europe, per se?
Yes. So I'm currently doing some research in Rotterdam, and walking around the Netherlands as a whole, you see a lot of wind turbines. In fact, the first thing that might come to one's mind when one thinks of Holland is windmills. So you expect, or you might expect, most of the electricity generated to come from renewable wind energy. But that simply isn't the case. Up north, there are huge natural gas deposits, mostly around Groningen, and these deposits have been running Dutch homes for many a year. Only 8.2% of the Netherlands' energy was produced renewably in 2017, compared to 29.4% in the UK in the same year. I hope that's helps answer your question.
It definitely does. Thank you, Doctor.
After considering the statistics presented to me and looking at other systems of implementing green energy production, I've decided that localism is indeed the best solution to combat climate change. The question is it going to be implemented?
Sorry, how old are you guys?
16.
So you can't vote yet, but
No.
do you know who you would vote for if you could
For
vote?
Conservatives because Jeremy Corbyn bad.
Right.
Back in Boris.
Can we talk about Greta? Can we talk?
Human change, not climate change.
Human change, not climate change. Human change, not climate change. Human change. Climate justice now. Strike.
So I take it you both feel very strongly about climate change.
Yes.
Make the earth cool again.
So sad.
If you could say one thing to hey sir.
I mean, if it was to get to Christmas and it was sunny,
That would be awful.
That would be unpleasant.
Okay.
Especially in Australia, where it would be even more unpleasant.
Yeah.
It'd be even sunnier.
It would. That's how it works.
I think Australians would die out.
They would. I mean, I quite like Australians. If it was France, then not so much of a problem.
If we could swap them around. We could send all the French
Send
to
all the French
Australia
people to Australia.
and bring all the Australians to
Australians
France, and
to
then
France.
all the French people die out,
Yeah.
and then we solve climate change.
Exactly.